during this pandemic about the flu. So let's talk about everything going on right now. Hanging out with me, first of all, you see my special guest right next to me, looking all gorge, Dr. D. How are you?
I'm good, Persia. How are you?
Good. Of course, you can see her title on there, Commissioner of Health here in Baltimore City. So I'm sure you've been getting tons of questions about what we're doing in Baltimore City and how we can fight this pandemic. And, I know a lot of people have been saying we don't want to have a twindemic where we have the flu and then we also have the COVID-19. So what are some things you can tell for those people who are nervous to get the flu shot and those who kind of are like on the fence?
Oh, that's such a good question. And first, I will say I understand some people's hesitancy, right? If you've never gotten a flu shot, or maybe you're one of those people that you have some mild side effects as a result of a flu shot, I get it. Or if you just maybe you don't have a primary care provider that you can talk to about, the flu shot, I totally understand. But this year in particular, because of COVID, the flu shot adds that additional layer of protection against a virus. And it's one that we have a readily available and accessible vaccine to. So it really can help prevent you from getting the flu or prevent you from getting very ill from the seasonal flu. So I would encourage everybody to get a flu shot.
Yeah, absolutely. So, this is really something down for the books and for history because I've never received a flu shot before. So this is going to be the first year that I've ever got the flu shot because I really understand how serious it is.
Yeah.
And I wish that I would have probably understood before. But, I was one of those people like many that said, well, I don't get the flu, so it's going to be fine. Right. Many people say that all the time, or I'm not going to get the flu shot until I get the flu. But that's
Right.
so backwards.
That is backwards. And I'm glad though that you changed your mind and that this year is the year.
Yes.
So you made the right choice.
Yeah. So does the flu shot though, because a lot of people say, I don't want to get the flu shot because then I'll get the flu. So what do you have to say for those people who say, I don't want to get the shot because I don't want to get the flu?
So, that's a good question and that's a good point. So the flu vaccine does not give you the flu. The flu vaccine is a portion, an inactive portion of the virus that when your body receives it, it produces something called antibodies. So it produces these molecules that help you fight off disease. So the flu vaccine itself does not give you the flu. Now, some people do experience mild side effects, right? So some people might have soreness at the site, mild fever, mild chills, headache, but it doesn't give you the flu.
Yeah, I hear that a whole lot. And I think that was probably my biggest scare. And I hate that, I don't think I was as educated in those moments because I just was like, oh, well, this person said they got the flu when they got the shot, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. No, trust me, it's all good. My mom tells me the same thing. So.
Oh, does she?
Yes.
Is your mom the type of person who is like, girl, just take your vitamins and your elderberry and you'll be fine?
As a matter of fact, she is. You must have met her.
I did, No, I know a lot of people that say that and they live by their vitamins, which I think we all should continue to take our vitamins.
And I'm a fan of elderberry as well, but I get my flu shot every year because I also know that it can help to prevent me from getting the flu, or at the very least, if I get the flu, I'll have a much milder version of it.
Yeah, absolutely, because you've already had the shot. So this can kind of help your transition. And I think that probably is the scariest part for me because let's say I don't get the flu shot and I get the flu. And then on top of that, we don't have this vaccine for coronavirus quite yet for us. So then I also get coronavirus. So then that's like the twindemic where you have both of them. Like who wants that? You
Yeah, I mean, I think, really when we think about the twindemic, we also are very, very worried about our healthcare system being overwhelmed. So we know every single year around this time, prior to COVID, we see a spike in hospitalizations related to the flu. And so when we think about a twindemic, we worry about the hospitals being overwhelmed because there's, a significant amount of cases of flu and a significant amount of cases of COVID at the same time.
Mm-hmm. It's been a lot of say where people are like, oh, only older people will get the coronavirus. So you don't need to get the coronavirus, no worry about that. And also people also say, only if you're older, you'll get the flu shot. So I think it's two different spectrums of people just don't understand it. It doesn't matter your age or your color or whatever.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Everyone can be susceptible to the flu or to COVID. What we saw with COVID early on is that those that are older or those with underlying health conditions have more severe forms of the disease, but anyone can get it.
Yeah. And so we have a question on 92Q Jam's Baltimore Facebook page. They're asking, do you think it's necessary for toddler or kids to get the flu shot?
I do. So the flu shot is approved for children over the age of 6 months. And again, I think kids can also get pretty sick from the flu. So the flu we typically see can be more severe in older adults or those with
Mhm.
underlying health conditions, but also in younger kids. We see hospitalizations, we see younger kids ending up in the intensive care unit as a result of the seasonal flu.
Yeah. And so I want to remind you, as you're watching our live right now, you can ask all the questions you want, all the things you've been wanting to ask, and maybe having a chance to ask. Dr. D will be able to ask them or answer them for you, about the flu shot and things like that. I know another myth a lot of people have been saying is that doctors and organizations get paid per
Mm.
person that they give the flu shot to. So what is your response to that?
So the health department definitely does not get any reimbursement from giving the flu shot. Our focus is really on, again, those that are most vulnerable. So that's definitely the population that we want to work with, those that may not have a healthcare provider. And we get no reimbursement or no kickbacks from giving the flu shot.
So I have Terrence Hamlet. Hey, Terrence. He says, but how can we trust what they may put in the flu shot?
Yeah, that's a good question. And so, one really good source of truth is the CDC's website. So, cdc.gov. And they have many, many pages on frequently asked questions around the flu. They'll walk through the different types of flu vaccines and will walk through, the components of the vaccine. So I definitely understand the concern. But again, like I said, I get it every year. I've gotten it every year for a number of years. And we see multiple studies where it really does reduce the severity of illness and reduce hospitalizations.
Yeah. And also, I know another big question that people ask all the time is how much is the flu shot? How can I get the flu shot for free? Like, what are all of these responses to that?
Yeah, so honestly, if you have insurance, whether it be Medicaid, Medicare, your insurance covers the flu shot. So you
Okay.
could even go to your local pharmacy if you're not able to get to your healthcare provider and get the flu shot. You show your proof of insurance. Even if you don't have proof of insurance, I would actually recommend that you check out our website. So health.baltimorecity.gov/flu for flu clinics that may be near you. So again, they're available, whether
Mhm.
you have insurance or not. And ideally, I would say 99% of the time it's at no cost to you.
Yeah, so if you're just tuning in to our live, it's all about the Baltimore City Health Department, the flu vaccine. It is worth it. It's worth it. A lot of people ask, is it worth it? And I think that's the biggest thing. And a lot of people are nervous about it. I was telling Dr. D, if you just tuning in, this year will be my first year taking the flu shot. I think that is really serious right now. We're in a critical time, something that, we've never really experienced before. So I think this is the time where we all have to really understand that this is something, it could be like a life and death situation because we don't know what else will be affected with this,
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
you can get pretty ill from the flu.
So Marcellus, hey Marcellus, he's saying, what are the side effects of the flu shot?
Yeah, so again, some people may experience a little bit of soreness at that site of injection. You might have redness or a little bit of swelling, mild fever, mild headache, mild muscle aches, some nausea, some fatigue. And not everyone gets this. So some people experience this, and if you do, it's usually a few days following the shot, and it is much milder than the actual flu.
Yeah. I know earlier we had a question when somebody said, is it safe for toddlers or babies to get the flu shot? Also, people, I'm sure, when it comes to the kids, they're worried that it may cause them some further side effects, like with autism or things like that. So, what do you have to say to those parents who are worried about the flu shot due to maybe causing autism or any other worries they may have with the child?
Sure, sure. So there has been no linkage at all between the seasonal flu vaccine and autism. Again, probably the most common side effects are everything I mentioned: the soreness, the muscle aches, the headache, the mild fatigue. Those are the most common side effects associated with getting the flu vaccine. But again, no association between the flu vaccine and autism. It is safe again for children above the age of 6 months.
So Dave Wilner, hey Dave, he says, how can you tell a difference in symptoms between flu and COVID? If he gets the flu shot and gets sick, should he just assume that maybe it's the symptoms of one shot or the other?
So that's a good question. I will say flu and COVID have a lot of similarities in terms of how they present. Ideally, if you get the flu shot, you'll be protected against the flu, though, we know it's not necessarily 100% coverage depending on the variations of the virus that year. What we also know is sometimes people get the flu shot and still get the flu. So for instance, if you were exposed to the flu and had it before your flu shot, you can still get the flu. And so that's something to be mindful of. Probably the best and safest thing to do is if you're having those symptoms, to reach out to your healthcare provider, and they can test you for both flu and COVID. That's probably the easiest way to differentiate.
Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. You there, Dr. D?
I'm here.
Okay, there we go. I was like, wait, what just happened? So let's talk about like the Black community and our culture. I think as a Black culture, we really are nervous to do a lot of different things. Like you have the experiments before that have happened
Mhm.
that didn't turn out too well for our community. What do you have to say to those people who say, if you're Black, you shouldn't take the shot because remember what they done did to us before. Like, those people that are nervous in the Black community to take the flu shot and even the COVID, everything.
Yeah, no, I think that that's a very real concern and it's a very real fear. So I went to Meharry, which is an HBCU for grad school, and so we learned about those things. We learned early, what the biases were, what the challenges are within the African American community, and I think a big part of it is finding that trusted healthcare voice.
Mhm.
The CDC is still the voice of truth, so CDC.gov is going to provide you with the most accurate information. But if you have a healthcare provider in your neighborhood that you trust, by all means, ask them questions, finding that, again, that trusted voice and messenger. But I would, again, reassure people. I've read the studies. I've gotten the flu shot every year for
Mhm.
multiple years now, and it is safe.
Yeah, I know a lot of people also said, well, these flu vaccines are designed to get rid of some folks in the Black community. Like, and that's why people also think there's now this pandemic we're in. They're like, okay, wait, this don't make no sense. Like, there's a lot of
Yeah,
myths.
yeah. Yeah, no, I hear that. I mean, again, I know it's hard based on our history, based on what our folks have experienced, but
Mhm.
I would encourage you, read up, go to trusted website, cdc.gov, go to your trusted healthcare provider for those types of questions.
What about for those people who say, you know what, I get the flu shot and the Baltimore City Health Department kind of disappears. They're not liable for whatever happens to me and things like that. What would be a response to those people who are concerned with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So one, I mean, if you experience an adverse side effect, there are options to report that. So there is a vaccine adverse event reporting line, but reach back out. If it's the flu, if the health department is the one administering that vaccine, reach back out and let us know that you had a reaction. If it's your healthcare provider, same thing. We report those things through that line, and you can even report it yourself. So it's online, and we can share that website too.
So we have another comment coming in. Why must you get a flu shot every year versus skipping years?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So the virus itself changes seasonally. So
Mm.
so each season there are different kind of variations on the traditional flu, and so that's why it's updated every single year to match the most common strains. And so that's why you have to get it every year, and your immunity tends to lessen over time as well. So really, it is one of those things that you have to get every year.
And then Dr. D, for people who are just tuning in, I just want you to stress the fact that how important it is to take this flu shot because, like I said, this is the first year I'm taking it because I understand with this pandemic we're in, I do not want anything to do with no pandemic. Okay,
Yeah.
like you know what I mean. So please just stress the fact that people need to make sure that they get this flu shot and stay healthy for
Yeah.
themselves.
I think this year, especially this year, knowing that COVID is out there, this is that one less thing to worry about. If you get your flu shot, it doesn't mean that 100% you won't get the flu, but it certainly decreases your chances significantly.
Yeah.
So again, it's one less illness to potentially worry about.
All right, Dr. D is here. Can you give everybody a website or any other type of resources that they may need in order before trying to get the vaccine?
Yeah, again, I'm going to keep going to two sites. So the CDC's website, cdc.gov. I'm also going to shout out our website, right? So health.baltimorecity.gov/flu. There's a lot of helpful information about the flu shot on both of those sites. The one other thing that I'll kind of throw in there is the vaccine itself is not the flu. It again is a portion of the flu, an inactive portion of the flu, that when your body receives it, it produces antibodies, which help you fight off the real flu if you are ever exposed to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've been hearing a lot of people say different things about that too. And they're like, "Well, what do they put in it?" Like, I know that's probably one of the biggest things that people want to know is what is in that shot that you're putting in
Yeah.
my body.
Yeah, no, and I totally get that. Again, it's an inactive, usually a protein on the surface of the flu. So again, once your body sees it, it produces these antibodies, which are meant to fight off disease. So our body naturally produces antibodies anyway. It just allows us to make ones that are more specific to the flu.
All right, if you're just tuning in, it's Dr. D from the Baltimore City Health Department, the health commissioner. We have another question. What can happen if I get two flu shots in a year?
So that's not kids. Younger kids actually, before they're a certain age, are required to get two flu shots anyway to make sure their body mounts the appropriate response. And so again, it's not necessarily harmful if you end up getting a second one, early in the season or have gotten two in one year.
Yeah, I actually had somebody, one of my neighbors, she's sending her child to another school this upcoming school year, whenever we get back to everything. And she said that some of them were saying they get flu shots, but she wasn't gonna, give her son a flu shot. And I was like, well, like, especially during this time right now, we should probably do that. But she said she doesn't have to. Do you know if that's something different where you don't have to receive a flu shot in order to go to school for the kids now?
Yeah, the flu shot is typically not mandatory for schooling. There are other shots that are. So certainly measles, mumps, rubella, the chickenpox vaccine. There's some other ones that are mandatory for going to school, but the flu shot is actually not one that's mandatory for going to school.
Yeah, I think it might be some other shots. It might be though. Mike White said, "Is there an ideal window of time to get a flu shot?"
Ideally, you're getting it before the end of October. So flu season really does kick off in late September, early October, and it takes our body about 2 weeks to mount that immune response after getting the vaccine. So ideally, by the end of October, you've gotten your flu shot. Certainly, you can go up through January if you still haven't experienced it. Flu season does not end until March, so it's not too late. But earliest is best.
Okay, and if you missed what Dr. D said earlier, when it comes to the price about a flu shot, if you have insurance, your insurance company should cover that as well. If you're worried about the price or anything like that. Also, where are some options that people can go to get flu shots to? Some different locations in the Baltimore area.
So most pharmacies carry them. If you have a federally qualified health center in your neighborhood, they carry them. Again, your primary care providers, flu shots are so common. Most primary care providers will have it, but certainly, like I said, a pharmacy, some grocery stores that have pharmacies within the grocery stores, they carry them as well.
Yep, absolutely. Dr. D, I appreciate you so much. For more info, you all can go to health.baltimorecity.gov/flu. And we appreciate you taking time. I know you are super busy, trying to save the world.
Yeah. Yes.
Is there anywhere that people can go to submit questions, maybe after this live?
Well, we have a frequently asked questions page at our health.baltimorecity.gov/flu. But yeah, I mean, I would check that page out again, cdc.gov. If you have other questions, you can email us directly at bchd2@baltimorecity.gov. Again, that's bchd2@baltimorecity.gov.
All right, Dr. D, I appreciate you so much. Have an amazing night and stay safe. And I'm going to go get
Thank
my flu
you.
shot this year. I'm not playing.
Wonderful. Before the 31st.
Before the 31st. I will be there
Perfect.
getting my flu shot. I'm going to get my insurance card and have it all out and be ready for that for free.
Awesome. Sounds good.
All right, talk to you soon.
All right. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.